Milwaukee, make some noise for your headliner, Josh Johnson.
Been very excited. I've been very, very excited. Been highly anticipating a bout that's coming up. Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul. Some of you may have not known that this was going to happen, but in case you didn't, Mike Tyson is going to box Jake Paul, and I'm excited more for the spectacle than the actual fight. I don't know what's going to happen in the fight exactly, but it is one of the wildest encounters of two people punching each other that you could have ever imagined. Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul, a star, a bona fide star globally of the 80s, fighting one of the most popular influencers that the modern era has to offer. And it just feels like somehow the 80s are fighting the 20s. Do you know what I mean? Like, Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul feels like Sylvester Stallone versus Liam Hemsworth. It's like, you're just kind of like, what? How? How are they even close enough in age to have anything to argue about? This is crazy. If you don't know Mike Tyson, I know that some people are too young to have like really watched him fight. I'm too young to have like remembered those fights live. Some of them I wasn't even around for, but I watched the tape and it's devastating. Mike Tyson is one of the most bona fide terrifying people. You know what I mean? Some of the things that Mike Tyson would just say, I'd be like, oh, to even think it, you must be willing to do it. Do you know, like there was a press conference one time where Mike Tyson was sitting there and he's like, this thing, I don't think these guys understand. I'm not here to just box. I'm not here to fight or anything. I'm trying to take their health. Sir, the question was, what has your preparation been for this match? Mike Tyson he's like an embodiment of like everything like fierce, violent, and dangerous in one person that also very much loves birds. And what's wild about Mike Tyson is that from the time that he was young, right, to present, he had taken a genuine, not only interest, but maybe an obsession with the way that the world works, understanding oneself and understanding the world and how who you are applies to the world, right? So he said some of the most fascinating things around Alexander the Great, around conquerors, around kings, around how to win a mental battle as well as like a physical one, how war works. He has such an understanding of the world. And then he says other things. Other things that are so scary that you're like, sir, just shoot me. Don't want to have to deal with this, you know? And a lot of it bleeds together because it's not my time, right? I'm not like from that era, but you watch these old compilations of press conferences and interviews and post-fight interviews with Mike Tyson, I was scared for the reporter. Because you have a man who's been training to basically kill a man with his fists, even if it took him 12 rounds, and it took half of one. So by the time you interview him, he's still got a lot of energy. There was one time they were trying to interview Mike Tyson after a fight. They're in the ring with him. They're putting the mic in his face and everything. And he's so amped and he's talking. He's like, y'all don't understand. Like I'm from Sonny Liston's cloth. I'm the most fierce. And he starts describing not just who he is as a boxer, but his training and everything. And then at the end of it, he goes, I don't know, man. What? And I think if I had been the reporter, I'd also be like, nothing. I didn't say anything. Don't worry about me. Mike Tyson press conference was a master class in psychological warfare. He would say things that had you thinking like, oh man, this dude's like out of his mind. Or this dude really wants to kill me and I don't know him. That's gotta be tough as a fighter, to sign up for a fight. And you know we both fight. But one of us loves fighting. And we both like it, that's why we do it, and we're both good at it, that's why we do it. But one of us is so excited to hit, they don't care if they get hit. It's a very different person. Do you know what I mean? Even when you're mad, even when you're angry, and you're like, that's it, let's fight. You're trying to get the aggression out, and you want to hurt the other person. And yeah, maybe you're willing to take a few punches, but you aren't in a fight loving getting hit just so you can give a hit. It takes a different type of person, and Mike is a different type of person. You know? When you look at where Mike Tyson comes from, it's astounding that he made it to where he was. You know, Mike Tyson comes from Brooklyn, was in Bed-Stuy, and then at a young age moves to Bronzeville, and is devastating because it's not the Brooklyn that you know now. You know what I mean? Like there were no cupcake shops. It was Brooklyn in a way that was, let's say the property would be cheap, all right? Like if you were trying to buy, all right? Devastating conditions. And he talks about how there was just, you couldn't even go to the bathroom inside sometimes where they were staying and stuff. And all that stuff can make a hardened person. Because he didn't just have to live in certain conditions. He had conditions waiting for him when he got outside. He talked about it. He had to fight. He had to fight all the time. He had to be ready to be tough all the time. People will test you all the time, right? He talked about his first fight. So like I said, Mike Tyson loves birds. It's truly one of the sweetest things about him. It's one of the things that like gives you a glimpse into the humanity of a person that's only known as being this fierce beast, right? Loving these birds, being gentle with them, caring for them, spending time with them, you know? Really taking care of them. And when he was a kid, there was a kid who took his bird. And he was like, give it back, give it back, give it back. And give it back, I think give it back genuinely in the way that a kid is asking you earnestly from the bottom of their heart, no, please, give it back, right? And that kid killed that bird in front of him. And then Mike Tyson, I'm assuming, killed that kid because he at least let him remember what would happen. And Mike would get into trouble, and it's easy to say, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do this, right? All those things can be true. Obviously, you shouldn't be robbing people, you shouldn't be selling stuff, you shouldn't be out here with these people who are on a bad path and everything. But when you have what looks like no other option from those things, how can you expect someone to just know You drive down the path that's been paved, you know? And so he ends up in like detention centers and stuff like that. And at one point, Mike Tyson meets Customato. Customato sees him, and immediately he knows. He knows this kid is special and he's different. And not only just because he's built different, not only because he's big for his age, there's just something about him. And he gets the opportunity to like box a little bit. He goes to the gym, he's hitting bags and stuff, spars a little bit. And Customato sees in something in him. And after sparring, you know, as the story goes, they ask this kid who's just sparred with some grown men, how old are you? And then Mike goes, I'm 13. And then these grown men look at each other and go, this nigga at least 30. Like, there's no way. You better put a 0 behind that 13. That's, what? 13. And Customato, to my knowledge, actually adopts Mike Tyson. Takes him into his home, right? Not just to train him, but to care for him, to love him. You know? Because all of this energy, all this fierce potential can really go somewhere if you nurture it, right? And then under Customato's leadership, Mike Tyson does become as fierce of a person as Customato thinks he can be in the ring. And Cus believed in him before he believed in himself. I think that's why their friendship, that mentorship is like, when you see it, there's something special about it. Because anyone who sees anything in any of us and pulls it out of you, right, just with their belief, that's a very special thing. And the only people that wish Customato hadn't done what he did are probably Mike's opponents. Because Mike would have fights that were so damn fast. You can see it even in the video, even in some of the amateur fights that were actually on video. You can see in the opponent where they were like, does he have a hammer? What is he doing? That really hurt. No. And then Mike gets older. Mike becomes world champion. Youngest world champion, right? In there with a boxer with real experience, who's also a special fighter, right? But Mike hits him in a way that maybe he's never been hit before. And if you go back and you watch the video of this knockout, I shouldn't laugh, but Mike didn't just knock this dude out. Like, he didn't knock him out cold, right? This dude gets knocked down again, and he's trying to get up, and you can tell that his body is like, dog, we done. Don't. No. You know, like when you're in a bar fighting, your buddies hold you back? That was that guy's whole body. Like, you can even hear the announcer be like, oh, he's fighting to get up, but his body won't let him, because his body is like parts of him that didn't get hit. This dude got hit in his head and the chin, and even his feet and his knees and his hips were like, look, if you ever want to speak to us again, don't stack us up on top of each other right now. You need to sit down. And then Mike Tyson becomes world champion. He becomes everything that Customato thought he could be. He becomes everything that he knew he was, right? It's a beautiful moment. And then it's important when you think of Mike Tyson to understand that Mike Tyson is America. A lot of Mike Tyson's story is how America works, right? There are parts of this country that if you travel to, you'll think you're in another country for how poor they are, how broken, the conditions that people are living in. You know, it looks like the developing world in some parts of America, and we don't like to talk about it. We especially don't like to take care of those people because it means we have to really look at ourselves to do it. But there are people that come out of those conditions that build themselves up into something that no one else could have imagined based on where they started, right? Mike Tyson is just like America. Mike Tyson is fierce, fearsome, you know, incredibly violent. People in other countries look at America the way that we look at Mike Tyson. Genuinely, if you travel, and I mean really travel, I'm not talking about just go to the tourist spots and the places that are popular to go. If you really travel and you know world history and you go to a place and you ask them about America, right? A country that we've attacked before, you you know? They look at us like we have a tattoo on our face. Mike Tyson builds himself up, and he doesn't just get the world championship. He has some very, very impressive fights where you can average his whole fight time out to like maybe a round and a half. He's beating people so fast it's actually upsetting the crowd. I know people who paid a lot of money to go to a Mike Tyson fight and went in the bathroom at the wrong time. Sit there the whole fight card holding it, and then you're like, oh, he's only walking out, I got a second. And then from the bathroom you hear, oh. You're like, oh no. I mean, then Mike goes down a downward spiral. He loses Customato. He loses this person that was a mentor, that was a friend, you know? And he tries to find his way, but he's still very young. People forget how young he was when he was Mike, when he was Iron Mike, and he was fearless and he was undefeated, and starts, you know, getting lost in it. And he'll tell you that. He's talked about that. He got lost, right? Goes to jail at one point. Like, this dude is on a dark path, you know? And even, I mean, this is attributed to Mike Tyson. I don't know if he actually said it like this, but he was like, I was a baby. And you gave me millions of dollars to punch people in the face. And you didn't think this was gonna go off the rails somehow? Like, you didn't think that this was a bad idea, maybe? No. That's who's fighting. This guy who's relentless, you know? So much fear. Imagine you're in the ring with Mike Tyson and he won't stop staring. Just the face-off, just watching the face-off, you would see it in his eyes. He's like, I would very much like to hurt someone today. And legally, it's you. And he was fast, and his movements were jerky, but they were quick, and they clearly hurt, because some very big men did not get up. He would hit people so hard sometimes that you'd be like, I think that guy's dead. And then he'd twitch, you'd be like, he's all right. That's who's fighting. And then you have Jake Paul. One thing people need to understand about Jake Paul, if you don't, he's very much, we are in Jake Paul's time. Whether we like it when I say that or not, he's having his Mike Tyson moments right now. World famous around the world. People tune in from around the world. They watch his fights, they watch his YouTube videos. This dude is a true bona fide star, right? And we can argue about if he's as popular as Mike was back then and why the internet is different, but he is very popular. You know, and he loved boxing. He feels like boxing saved him. That's something similar that he has with Mike, because this kid, he got a camera from his dad, him and his brother, when they were young, and it was to film themselves while they were doing football so that they could improve, right? Which I don't know how that works. I don't play enough football. Like, if I did that and tried to tape myself playing football to improve, I think I would just be like, this is where I got hit. And this is when I hit the ground. I think that's all I did. I don't know was that right? Is that how you do it? And so him and his brother start making videos, like little YouTube videos, whatever. They're putting them online. They're getting some looks every now and again. But then Vine came out. And if you don't know what Vine is like TikTok granddaddy. And they start making Vines, and they get very popular almost overnight. They are huge on Vine. Everybody thinks they're funny, and they love to follow them. They want to know what they're doing next. They're getting all this money, endorsements, everything. At one point, Jake Paul is on the Disney Channel. I don't really know what he was doing, but it was quick. And then they start posting on YouTube and they start getting millions of subscribers on YouTube. These kids are bona fide popular and they understand something that maybe the rest of us just don't, and that's why they are where they are. They understand internet culture, they understand marketing and business, they understand the way that the world is turning, right? And it's the age of the influencer, right? And a lot of people want to be influencers, some people don't want to be. You can accidentally become famous, and that's a terrifying thing. You become famous in a way that you really didn't mean to, you know? You're just living your life. But somebody puts a cell phone on you, or you don't know you're in someone's shot, and you trip weird, and you go, and now you're, like that's who you are as a guy. And then people see you in the world, and they're like, hey, we love you, dude, we love, that's our favorite. Man, keep killing it, dog, keep killing it. But before you know it, just one thing, just one meme, just one moment catapults you to this level of fame that no person can be prepared for. Whether you're Mike Tyson in the 80s or you're Jake Paul now, people don't understand that like fame that you weren't even trying to get can mess with your mind, right? And so Jake Paul was on a dark path as well. He was probably headed for a bad place, and then he started boxing and he loved it. And boxing to a degree saved him. And so he's out here boxing, you know? And at first he starts fighting like YouTubers, like fellow YouTubers, because that garners attention. Because sometimes you see two people who don't like each other and you're like, man, it would be kind of funny if they fought. And this is the thing about us. We as people love a fight. Whether we like to admit that about ourselves or not, we love a fight. I've been walking down the street and seeing kids on the park sinking threes from far away, Steph Curry level, right? And I'm like impressed, and I maybe watch him do two more, and then I'm like, he's getting it in. He'll be fine. But if I see a fight in the park, I stop. Because I'm wondering, you know? But no, we're in this age where I think people sometimes want to be famous more than they want to do something. You know, and that's where you get some of these things, some of these imitators of Jake Paul, of Logan Paul and stuff like that. There was a kid whose story, like, it blew my mind. Basically, there was this kid doing these pranks, and they were like barely pranks. It was just being obnoxious. It was just being like horrible to people and messing with people to try to get a reaction out of them. Because not only are we the new like influencers, everyone, all of us, all the time, it could happen to any one of us, but because of how people become influencers, because of how people get popular, they are our paparazzi now. You're just living your life, but now you're in someone's video and they're trying to make you act a certain way. That's not what we signed up for, you know? You should at least be rich to have that happen. And so this kid was making this video and he was messing with this guy in the mall and he was following him around. And he was just like, not just being annoying, he seemed like to also be intimidating him a little bit. And he was really following him, trying to get him to answer some question or something. And finally, this little guy, he's like a very small guy, and he did not look well, right? He finally goes, stop. And then he pulled out a gun and shot him. And I am praying that's not him. This dude pulls out a gun and he shot him. There's this loud bang in the mall and people start screaming and running and everything. But from the vantage point of like the person who, because he posted it himself, the kid, the influencer who was making the prank video, posts the thing and he's coming at him and the guy's like, stop, bang. And then as soon as you hear the bang, this kid, the prankster goes, oh! And to be fair, there's no cool way to get shot. But he goes, oh! And he hits the ground. And that guy walks off, and obviously he gets arrested and everything. They explain the situation. I believe he got released. And then this kid goes to the hospital. He's fine, right? He's fine. He got shot in the side, and he's fine. But when they ask him about it, they ask him how he feels about the fact that this thing happened. Like, is it change how he's going to make content? He got more followers from it happening because it got on the news, and people wanted to see the kid that got shot, and they wanted to see the other stuff that he did. So he did get more popular, right? And they wondered how he felt towards the gunman. This guy shot you, and you were being annoying, but did you deserve to be shot, right? And then this kid sitting in his hospital bed, his dad, by the way, is furious. His dad is like, there are people saying my son deserved to be shot. My son's just a kid, right? And this kid sitting in his hospital bed, when he's asked these questions, goes, it is what it is, dog. Like, which I can't tell, is that a good attitude about it? But it lets me know it's not just a few people. It's not just a few individuals. We're in an age, and it's an age of if I can be popular, maybe I can be safe, maybe I can be liked, maybe I can be something, whatever it is. But it's apparently worth being shot over for some people. And make no mistake, Jake Paul is America. I don't know how it feels to have me say that, but Jake Paul is America. A lot of what America embodies is what Jake Paul is, right? America is business, usually business first. We can worry about being a country later. It's business, and it's fame, and it's money, and it's influence, right? You go to some of these backdoor meetings that some of these world leaders have when America convinces them to do something. We don't know how they do it. Maybe it's with money. Maybe it's with other things. Maybe they're like, hey, look, we'd hate for something to happen to your whole island. Influence. See what I mean? And so now you have these two boxing, and people don't know what's going to happen. Obviously, there are people that want Mike Tyson to hurt Jake Paul very badly. And then there are people who just want to see a fight. They just want to see what it would look like. You know what I mean? They just want to see what it would look like if, like, that guy from The Breakfast Club fought Timothy Chalamet. Like, just... They just want to see two generations go at it. You know? Because let's be honest, it's an odd fight. You know, Jake Paul has fought former MMA fighters. He's fought former NBA players. He's fought YouTubers. He's fought one established boxer, maybe two pro boxers that I know of, right? Because I don't know his entire record. But he said that the thing that made him do this, the thing that made him push for it and create it, was he did some ayahuasca. And when he did the ayahuasca, he said he saw himself fighting Mike Tyson. And if I'm being honest, taking ayahuasca and seeing yourself fighting Mike Tyson sounds like something Mike Tyson would say doing ayahuasca. Like, I could more clearly see Mike Tyson doing ayahuasca, and he's like, I saw myself fighting Jake Paul. I don't know, man. I had to think to myself, you know, if I did ayahuasca and I saw myself fighting Mike Tyson, I'd probably have to sit back and be like, maybe heroin's the answer. Like, I don't know. This ayahuasca is not it for me. No, thank you. You know? And so, as soon as he had that vision, though, he put it into motion. And that's the marketer, that's the businessman, that's the promoter in Jake Paul. He saw this thing and he had to create it. That's also America, by the way. You go to other countries and you're like, oh, I have this big dream of doing this thing. A lot of countries are set in their ways, right? America is properly crazy. We'll let you do anything, fundamentally. And so now they have a press conference. They're together, and Jake Paul's very good at being the heel, you know what I mean? But it's hard to be the heel when you're fighting Mike Tyson. Like, people might be booing you, but he's saying truly upsetting things. Mike Tyson was in a press conference one time, and he was like, look, all I want is for his kids to be watching us fight and see me beat them so bad that they're like, Daddy, no. Hearing Mike Tyson quotes out loud genuinely makes me want to learn Tai Chi. So in case I ever come across Mike Tyson, I can look like I'm about to fight him while also backing up. Like, and some people think that the fight's just a spectacle. Some people think it's a real fight. There are kids who think Jake Paul's got to beat Mike Tyson, right? Jake Paul's a great boxer. Let's see it happen. I'm so excited to see Jake Paul whoop this guy. There really are both sides to this thing. And it's going to be on Netflix, which who knows if that's a mistake. Do you know what I mean? Who knows if they fight and then one of them dies and we're just sitting there like, so... Are we accomplices, or just sitting there, stoic, don't know what to do next, and Netflix is like, are you still watching? Not now, man. You know? And it's a gamble as well. It's a gamble. It's one of the biggest gambles we've seen, because Mike Tyson is, to some degree, putting his legacy on the line. He's one of the most fierce fighters that's ever lived. People talk about Ali and Tyson. When they talk about boxing, they don't really know anything about it. You know those names. And then Jake Paul's putting something on the line, too. It's like, I had this idea, I had this dream of fighting Mike Tyson, and maybe I'm just out of my mind and I'm going to be hurt very badly. And Netflix is putting something on the line, because it's like, will people watch? Will someone die? It's a genuine gamble. And if America is anything, it's a proper gamble. You know what I mean? Like, that's what we do. I don't know. I admire an aspect of what Jake is doing, because Jake loves boxing. And no one will probably ever give him credit for it, but he is revitalizing a part of boxing. People talk about boxing a little bit more now because of the popularity that he brings in, the new kids that he brings in, and he's putting himself on the line because he loves boxing. And that, to me, is wild. Like, I love hip-hop, but I wouldn't try to battle Kendrick Lamar. Like...
Make some noise for Josh Johnson!
What a week. You know, like, I don't want to jinx it, but I'm feeling pretty good. I think we got him. I think... In case you didn't know, Diddy has been arrested and charged with
Just almost everything. Initially, it was sealed, and we just knew they were going to be holding him for a little while. And then they unsealed, and we were like, what? Because Diddy is very important for people to understand. Diddy is, when I say a monster, it's just because I don't want to swear. Diddy isn't the monster the way that, like, a person in your life that you know is evil is a monster. Diddy is a monster in the way that I'm pretty sure even the devil is like, ooh. Ooh, somebody coming for my job. And I know that, you know, you're supposed to say allegedly. But he did all of it. He did everything. He did everything that I believe that Diddy did whatever they say he did. And that doesn't just apply to like the cases he has now. I believe Diddy did stuff he hadn't been accused of yet. I believe Diddy caused inflation. He's even, if I'm not mistaken, being charged with arson in connection with blowing up Kid Cudi's car. Who blows up cars? Let's talk for a sec, because here's the thing. I do understand the intimidation and the general paranoia you build in a person's life when you blow up their car. All right? So I get why people like Diddy and the mob blow up cars. It's very effective. You know, somebody's thinking about testifying and then they're going out and then they go, beep, beep, boosh. And they're like, maybe not. But to blow up a car, really, because he's not blowing up the car himself. Diddy wasn't getting under the car with something with wheels on it in the back and then rubbing wires together and then taping it and then letting the tape fall and be like, and then taping it back. He sent someone else to do that, you know? But they arrested him, and they arrested him. I gotta look at this again to make sure I'm right, but I'm pretty sure the warrant had every name he ever went by in it. Just in case he opened the door and been like, who? No, I don't know a Puff Daddy. No, there's not a Puff here either. Would you be looking for just a general Diddy? Because he's not in. I go by Brother Love. This man did everything. You know, and then they arrested him. They got him locked up in Brooklyn in one of the worst places to be locked up. It's really bad. Here's how bad it is. It's so bad that prison alone has had several murders. And it is so bad condition-wise that 2 federal judges have already said that they will not send anyone else there. That's where they sent him. And this dude... That's where they sent him. And this dude wanted to make sure he didn't go to jail so bad. So bad. Properly. Like, he put it all up. This dude was willing to pay a $50 million bond. Do you know how much you did it? To put up $50 million. $50 million is the type of money where you're like, I can't, first of all, most people don't make $50 million in their entire life, right? So for you to put up that money, just not be in jail yet, you know jail is coming. $50 million. Do you know what you could do with $50 million? You could fix a small country with $50 million US dollars. $50 million, and he was like, and I'll use my home and my jets as the bond. Like, this dude was putting up proper collateral of things he has. Mansion, jet, all of it. And the state said, nah. Just to fully paint the picture, do you realize that the same country that said nah to that is the same country that has bail at heights that are actually unconstitutional for regular people, right? They will, if a judge doesn't like you, or if they feel like, okay, this person maybe didn't do it, but I know he doesn't have means, they will set an unreasonably high bail, which is against the Constitution, just to make sure you can't get out. But they didn't deny your bail. They just set bail at something you couldn't possibly pay, right? That same country got offered $50 million bond. And they were like, nah, because I know you. You know how bad they want you if they don't accept a $50 million bond? And so he's sitting in that jail, and his lawyers are trying to get him out. They went to that judge, and the judge was like, no, I heard what you do. You blow up cars for no reason. How am I supposed to believe? They're like, he's not a flight risk. It's like, no, he won't have to fly if he tampers with every witness we have. No. So the judge denied bail, and then they went to another judge, and they were like, look, $50 million, okay? Got the mansion, got the jets, all right? We also, how about this? I'll stay at home, all right? And I won't interact with any women that aren't the mothers of my children, right? Which is a crazy, what? I won't interact with any women except the women I already terrorize. What an insane. Also, we know you're a predator to dudes too. Like that you're not being slick, being like, I won't talk to any women. No. This dude is the devil. So they denied it again. And his lawyers were pleading. They were like, please, listen, the prison that he is in it's horrible. It's absolutely disgusting. It's terrible conditions. It's traumatizing. It's in his mental health. You can't be at a place like this, And then the more they described it, the more I was listening. I was like, that just sounds like Diddy's house for everybody else. And raided his house, found all manner of stuff. They found 1,000 bottles of baby oil. Let's be clear here. Diddy is a monster. Diddy is the devil, right? The 1,000 bottles alone was enough for me to lock him up forever. Are you drinking it? 1,000 bottles. 1,000. Booga booga. I went to a friend's house one time, and it was just like a little quick get together. They had made dinner and everything. I went to the bathroom, right? And I had a headache before I got to the party. So then, I told them while I was there, I was like, hey, I've been having this headache for like hours. Do you have like an Advil, something I can take? And they were like, yeah, go to the bathroom in the medicine cabinet, should be the Advil, right? And so then, chatting, I finally go over to the bathroom. I open the medicine cabinet. The Advil is not there. And so I go to that lower part, under the sink. I'm like, maybe the Advil will be under there. And under the sink, I saw 3 bottles of baby oil. And I was like, these are some freaks. They do not have a child. And they had 3 bottles of baby oil. 1 bottle means you get busy. 3, what are you stocking up for? The fact that Diddy had 1,000 means he should be under a prison right now. I can't even imagine. I can't imagine what it would be like to be Diddy's lawyer. You gotta imagine it's a pretty good job to have. Because he's about to drop millions and millions of dollars in court and on lawyers that no one expects to win. Think about that. Anyone in here could be Diddy's lawyer. Like, he's not gonna beat the case anyway. It might as well be me standing there like, yeah, that's him. He says he didn't, so take that into consideration. You know what I mean? Just filing motions. I don't even know what I'm talking about. Yeah. That is crazy. I mean, what can you do if you're Diddy's lawyer? They have so much. They have so much because Diddy did so much. He did it and he recorded it. He recorded himself doing everything he did and blackmailing people. So then when the people say he's been blackmailed, the feds already have the tape that they're talking about that was being used to blackmail them. So he basically made his own case this entire time. As Diddy's lawyer, all you can do is be like, that one tape is grainy. We don't know. We don't even know if that's him in that one, okay? The other 222, yes, but this one is hard to make out who is in there at all. We don't know. Diddy's lawyer was on camera taking questions from the media, which seems like a bad idea. Because unless Diddy has a twin, his lawyer doesn't have anything to say that's helpful. Because the lawyer was just talking to some of the press, and there was someone who asked them. They said that they found 1,000 bottles of baby oil when they raided his house, and his lawyer did his best. He put in a valiant effort. This man said, well, I don't know if it was 1,000. It was a lot. That's your lawyer. It was a lot. But there's a Costco just down the street from his house, and as you know, Americans love to buy in bulk. The whole time he's talking, you could tell he's trying not to laugh. It's like, if he's buying the baby oil in bulk, why wasn't anything else in bulk? It's insanity. We should have known, and I think a part of us did know, that Diddy was the devil when he did Making the Band. If you're too young to remember, there was a time when MTV had music on it. And in that time, Diddy, who I think went by P. Diddy at the time, maybe, or Puff, or it was Puff, he was him, okay? And he did a show where he would try to make a group, right? A hip-hop group or an R&B group or whatever. And throughout the course of that show, he would America's Next Top Model these people, all right? He would put them through absolute hell. There was one time that I think he made them walk, I'm gonna get this wrong, but he made them walk from like Brooklyn to Harlem to go get him a piece of cheesecake. And we watched it and we were like, that seems excessive. I don't know what that has to do with singing. The show ran for a few seasons and a couple of people came out of it, but most of the groups pretty much failed because he wasn't really making a group. He was just manipulating people. He was just being terrible, you know? I think we should have really known who Diddy was through and through a couple Halloweens ago. Because I don't know if you remember, but Diddy went as the Joker, and he was an impeccable Joker. This dude had prosthetics on or something, and he looked more like the Joker than Heath Ledger did. This dude had the hair and everything flopping to the side and stuff, and he had the movements going. He had a purple suit, had the green hair and the red lips and the big scars and everything. It was truly terrifying. And everyone he ran into was like, oh, good costume. Chose Halloween to dress up as the Joker. Halloween, a day where we all put on a mask. We all pretend to be someone else, except that nigga. Like, that man was just wearing his true skin. This dude was walking around as a Joker like I've never felt more free. Everybody terrified when they look at me. He rolled up on Tyler, the Creator. And Tyler, the Creator was just looking at him like, He got into it that night with an actor on the show Power. I believe his name is Michael J. Ferguson. And I don't know what started the altercation, but all I know is people started filming it, right? And it was Michael J. hands low and everything. He had big muscles, he a big dude and everything. And he's cursing Diddy out. Right now, he just thinks he's cursing this weird Joker out, I think. You know what I mean? Because he's just going at him, what? What you gonna do? Nothing, you know? And then Diddy, for his part, you see the turn. You got to see every little piece of Diddy in that moment. Because at first it starts out, and I really don't even know who was in the wrong, but Diddy just seemed a bit offended. He was like, what did I do to you? I'm just out here trying to have fun and everything. And then you see a turn, and then he's like, well, then let's go. Why would you? And then the threats come and everything, and then someone else goes, yo, Mike, that's Diddy. And he doesn't seem to care. He just keeps jawing at him. And then Diddy, for some reason, decides to like let it go, right? Even gives him a hug. And he was like, oh, it's all good, man. But how about you come to the after party and check the vibration? And I was like, man, this is the devil. Where is Batman when you need him? There's two types of blackmail that Diddy engaged in, right? One was the blackmail that was coercion, right? It was basically, he would have these freak-offs. That's the name of it. I didn't come up with that just now. Don't look at me like I'm sick. I saw your faces. I said it because it's the official term. It's in a government document now. It's not just street slang. It's not Twitter talk. They said, the Attorney General said freak off when he was addressing the nation. So I'm saying freak off. Well, he would have these freak offs, right? And, you know, he would be recording while it was happening. And one of the things that he would do is that if somebody was an unwilling participant and they ever turned on him or told him that they were going to go to the police or they just weren't going to do what he said, he would tell them he had a tape of them and they wouldn't want to get that tape out, right? So he would blackmail them that way. But the other way he would blackmail people is he would have these wild parties and he would be taping everybody. So if you just show up and you do something you're not supposed to be doing, maybe you cheat on your spouse, maybe you do. He's got blackmail on everybody, top to bottom. 2 types of blackmail. It's absolutely crazy. So many people want this dude dead. They put him on, they put Diddy on watch, make sure he doesn't hurt himself, because it would make a lot of sense. If there was ever a time to do it, it'd be now, Diddy. And so they put him on watch and everything, and that's gotta be wild to be like a powerful person, one of Diddy's friends, you know, knowing you were at some of these freak-offs, knowing that he has dirt on you. He might tell on you, and you just sitting there at home just praying. You know, I don't know who wants him dead more, his victims or his friends. That dude is such a monster, and now every clip of him being weird ever has resurfaced. And it turns out he was being weird the whole time. This dude went on Conan and basically just started giving a blueprint for how to get people at your party to take their clothes off. This dude was on Conan O'Brien. Conan was sitting there being like, this sounds bad. And by the way, this is old, this isn't recent. This is like what looks like early Conan. So it's still a little grainy, even though I was watching it on Twitter. And he's over here and he was skinnier and he had his shades on inside at night and everything. All the stuff we used to let him get away with. And he was like, oh yeah, you know, you want to make sure that you don't have the air conditioning on, you know, and you got to really have a lot of alcohol for people and a little bit of water, but mostly alcohol. And Conan was like, oh. You could see in Conan's eyes, he was fighting to find a commercial. He was Diddy talking like it's nothing. And like, he's like, oh, yeah, okay. This is one of the wildest things to me about Diddy, right? Is that he made an enemy a long time ago in a man named 50 Cent. 50 Cent hates Diddy so much. Okay. You ever been in a situation where, let's say there's somebody that you work with, right? And y'all, we're both just regular people, but y'all work together and you don't know what it is, but you hate them. And it's not even because they're bad at their job. They're not even being particularly annoying on purpose, but you can't stand. Every time they pass by, you want to grit your teeth. You hate them. You don't even know why. You don't know where it came from. You just hate them so much. Maybe they have a little quirk, or maybe they chew real loud. Maybe they chew so loud you can tell what they're eating. You know, just something real gross. Maybe they swallow weird and you can hear their esophagus and stuff. And y'all take your lunch at the same time, so you sitting in there while they eating, enjoying it, yumming it up. You put your AirPods in, you can't drown it out. You still hear and then every swallow just And you're like, that I hate. Ooh. And then things keep happening because y'all work together. Y'all work at the same job, so you have to interact with them. Maybe they're even in a different department, but you have to interact with them from time to time, and you hate it because they always bring up the weirdest conversations. They got a lot of feelings about tube socks. 6 sentences into a conversation, you're like, who is this dude? What? Y'all get each other for Secret Santa. You're like, I don't even know what they're gonna get me, but I know it's gonna be weird. Can't stand them. And then one day you're at work and you're at your wit's end, you know, because you hate them so much that you've actually been watching them. Watching them, waiting for them to do something fireable. You know? You even buddy up to HR just so that whenever you bring your case to HR, they'll be like, hey, yeah, buddy, I got you. I've been worried about him too, you know? Going to work, you can't stand this dude. You hate him so much. Sometimes you just look at the back of his head and you don't even know it's you doing it, but all of a sudden you standing behind him and your fist is right there. You hate this dude, and then one day you're at work, regular day. You at work, he's at work, and out of nowhere, you couldn't have imagined it. Truly out of nowhere, Homeland Security comes. And arrest this dude in his big mink coat or whatever he's wearing. No, I don't think anybody felt, more vindicated that was on the outer edges of Diddy's sphere than 50 Cent. 50 Cent had hated that dude for years. And look, 50 Cent isn't the one. Don't mess with 50 Cent because not only is he funny, which is already dangerous, he's so funny that you can tell he a natural bully. You ever been bullied by somebody and then went and tell people what they did and the people you told were like, that is funny though, like that's... I know it's wrong, but that was pretty good, like... Because we're not talking even about bullying in the terms of violence. I'm talking about bullying in like waiting for you to get real excited about something and then tricking you right at... Okay. 50 Cent, early in his career, he couldn't stand a dude named Ja Rule. If you don't know who Ja Rule is, then 50 Cent did his job. 50 Cent hated Ja Rule and hated him in a way that I was like, something deeper is going on here. Because you don't just hate a coworker this bad off of nothing. But he couldn't stand him. He felt like he was fake. There was even a series on BET called Beef. Beef was amazing because Beef would make these mini documentaries about different beefs that were happening in all of hip-hop, throughout history and currently. And at the time, one of the current ones was 50 Cent and Ja Rule. And they had interviewed both of them because what they would do with the show that was brilliant was that they wouldn't just like give you this like faceless voiceover David Attenborough documentary style. Like, they really got interviews from everybody, And so then they interviewed Ja Rule. At one point, he was on the couch with some of his buddies and they asked about 50 Cent and he was just, who? Who? And they interviewed 50 Cent. And 50 Cent was ready. I don't know where 50 Cent was, but I think he made the smart decision to go ahead and be on a balcony or somewhere outside in case he got loud. And he just went in on Ja Rule like they had been longtime enemies. These are two dudes who I'm pretty sure don't know each other at all. But 50 Cent, at one point, he even said, this dude, I'll never forget this. This is when I fully understood like hate on a petty level in my life for the first time. Because I was a teenager watching Beef on BET. And he was on the balcony, so the balcony railing's about here. And 50 Cent just, they did a perfect job with the editing, by the way. They keep cutting back and forth. So every time they give a detail about Ja Rule, 50 Cent said something treacherous, right? It was really great, you know, because then Ja Rule would say something along the lines of like, I'm a star, I don't need to worry about up-and-comers hating on me, blah, blah, blah. And then it would cut to 50 Cent. 50 Cent would be like, yeah, go hang out with the pop stars and Christina Aguilera, whoever you want, if they'll accept you. But dog, you fake, you're fake, you're fake. Like, it was like he was getting angrier and angrier throughout the interview. And I remember the interview because the last time they cut to him, I've never seen anything like it. They cut to this dude one last time, and he just went, psh. $50 Cent hated Ja Rule. And then Ja Rule got into it with Eminem. And Eminem and Dr. Dre had signed 50 Cent, and they were a huge part of his career, especially on the come up, and they collaborated a bunch, and they, were touring together. They would have toured together more if Eminem hadn't decided to stay home and be with family and stuff like that. They tight, right? Making incredible music together, classics. And Ja Rule went at 50 Cent, went at Eminem, because he didn't have a crystal ball. He couldn't see the future. And it went terribly for him. I mean, Eminem just ripped him apart in several songs with references. There were moments, Eminem is too funny, Eminem had a song with him. Haley's in the song, and she's like, is Ja Rule bigger than me? And Eminem said, no, sweetie, y'all are the same size. And Eminem, for his part, was very much above board. I don't really have a problem with you. I was even almost about to squash it. And then you mentioned my daughter's name. My daughter's a kid, man. And so he just went at him, right? And destroyed him thoroughly. But 50 Cent was on a different level. 50 Cent was like, I don't think that this will ever be over. I don't care what you say. I don't care what you do. I don't care if you apologize to me. Never be over. I can't stand this dude. And Ja Rule goes to prison at one point. I don't remember what for. A part of me thinks 50 Cent had something to do with it, but there's no way for me to tell. But then, if I have my timing right, Ja Rule gets out of prison, and no matter when, I could be wrong about the timing here, but I know that the thing happened. Basically, Ja Rule has a concert, and it's gonna be like a big comeback, like get my career going type of concert, like a welcome home party, a revival of Ja Rule's career. And the tickets actually sell fast, which I was perplexed by. Because I was like, how? Not even as a hater, just like, I don't know. It's like if you found out everybody in the world was actually into air hockey, you'd be like, I had no idea. You always see the table there, but So the tickets were selling fast, and nobody was probably more excited than Ja Rule. And then the day comes for the concert, and Ja Rule goes out, and it turns out that 50 Cent had bought most of the seats. I do my best to put myself in other people's shoes. And I tried to imagine what it would be like if I came out here and y'all weren't here. If it was just 3 of y'all in the back that I had to yell to. Imagine that, trying to still do the show. Yeah, it's crazy out here. But I said all that to say that 50 Cent and everything that happened is to show you that that's the dude that hated Diddy. Hated him so much, hated him to his core, couldn't stand him. For years he hated him. There was even a moment, okay, I'm sure you saw this, but in case you didn't, it's one of the things that really showed me that he hated him on like a petty level, professional level, business level, all of it. I'm pretty sure it was Diddy that posted a picture of himself. I don't know where he was. Maybe it was New York, maybe it was not Miami or something, but he was on a bike and he was just riding his bike, and then 50 Cent commented, "You know he's smiling because there's no seat on that bike." "50 Cent is funny, and he's not the one." If 50 Cent came at me, I'd be like, should I just shoot myself in the leg or what? I don't want any problems. I'm very sorry for whatever I did. Please don't do this. Because I don't know when it really started, but you take it back, all the way back to the early part of 50 Cent's career, and he's popping, he's killing it, right? Get Rich or Die Trying is an all-time hip-hop classic. Curtis, all-time hip-hop classic. This man is pumping out amazing music. He's having incredible tours and everything. And at one point, he goes, this is years later from the time I'm talking about, but we're going to get back there. He goes on The Breakfast Club, and he talks to them about, things he's promoting, and he's just chilling and everything. And Diddy comes up and he tells this story of being at a wedding. I don't remember whose wedding, but he was at this wedding and just hanging out and everything. And Diddy's there, and Diddy's chatting him up, being like, "Man, I like you. You real cool dude and everything. Like, yeah, we should hang out. Let me take you shopping sometime." And then 50 Cent said, "What?" And Diddy doesn't say anything wrong, so he repeats it. He's like, "No, let me take you shopping sometime." And he was like, "Man, get away from me." Because Diddy is so hated by 50 Cent that apparently a decade ago, 50 Cent just started gathering information on Diddy. As much as he could find. And he started working on a documentary series on how bad Diddy is. A documentary, he did interviews, he hates this man so much. I've heard of gossip. I've never heard of no, okay, we're gonna have the whole crew there by 3, all right? And we'll have a place for you to sit, we'll have some snacks and everything, and we'll just chop it up, we'll just chat. Tell me everything that he did, that bastard, right? A documentary series that he's already potentially sold to Netflix. He hates this. I've never hated, I'm not only do my best to not be a hateful person, I really try to let things go and not hate anybody. So I don't even know what it's like to hate someone. So I've never hated someone. So imagine hating someone so much you're willing to edit. You're willing to sit at the computer and be like, no, that's not. Let's see if we can make this B-roll work. This dude hates him so much that there's actually things on the cutting room floor that didn't make it in. Imagine you hate somebody so much you don't even have time for how much you hate them in the thing you made about hating them. And the craziest thing about it is that apparently, I don't know if this is true, but this is what I've been hearing. I looked it up from several outlets, and 50 Cent's documentary series about Sean Combs is titled, Did He Do It? This is the worst enemy to have. You know, you read even some of the stuff that Diddy's accused of, and now some of the text messages have leaked of what people were saying to him and what he was saying to other people at different stages, leading from Cassie coming out about him to present. And yeah, this dude is the devil, you know? But it's also, you're gonna need to be patient with me because I'm gonna try to say it right and I'm probably gonna fail, but just hear me out. You can tell that these people texting Diddy, the things that we've seen so far, because the trial hadn't even started yet. So the things haven't even come out that are the things that people are worried about. Because trust me when I tell you, Diddy the Black Epstein, they already put that dude on watch. But you can tell that he was a terror to so many people for so long, you know? And it's indicative of how we don't believe and protect each other. You know, it's really important that we do. Someone like Diddy is a prime example. When someone comes to you and they tell you that something happened, not only do you need to hear them out, you need to listen to what they're saying, but you also need to, with them, try to find a place where they feel comfortable to tell you more. You know, and what can be done about what they're telling you? Because sometimes people tell you something, they don't know what else to do, so they tell you, and they're like, "Don't tell anybody, don't do anything," right? And I'm not saying you should disrespect a person's wishes. I'm just saying that on top of that, you really have to talk it out with them and be like, "Are you sure you don't want me to do anything? You don't think that there's any recourse? You don't think? Let me bring you options. Let me try to help you through this thing, right?" Because we don't do a good job of believing women, but I'm telling you this, and I know it's not gonna sound right when it first hits your ears, but please hear me out. We also need to do a much better job of believing men. Because it is not easy at all. It's one of the scariest things that a person can do to come forward as a survivor of anything that's happened to him. And when a woman comes forward and people do the thing, we already know what they're going to do. There's almost a playbook online of how they're going to treat her, what people are going to say, what's going to happen if it goes to trial, why now, they just want money, all the things. They never fail, right? But when a dude comes forward, you got to remember, this dude was probably willing to take that to the grave. And then something happened where he was like, no, I got to say something, right? You know, there are so many people who would rather die than have people find out what happened to them. So if they tell you, you got to believe them. So many people are letting the fact that Diddy's bi overshadow the fact that he's a monster. That's what's crazy to me, is that it's like, oh man, Diddy was over here trying to kiss the back of this dude's neck. It's like, yeah, you mean assault him? Yeah, I know. You know? I think that's why I'm so thankful for the era that we're in now of people being able to find things on the internet, just at large. I know the internet's a big place. I know there's a lot of artists, a lot of creatives and everything, but the fact that it's now more than ever in the hands of the people, as far as creativity goes and as far as like putting your work out there goes, it's a beautiful thing, because one of the reasons that people like Diddy were able to prevail for so long is because they had something. They had something that they could hold over people. They had power, they had money, they had your access to getting your work out there. And so people, let people like Diddy manipulate and put them in situations they would never be in otherwise, right? But he had the power of a label. One of the best things that Cassie's lawyers did with that lawsuit was implicate all the labels. They didn't just sue him as like Sean Combs. They were like, no, I'm suing everybody. I'm suing the whole thing, because the whole thing's connected, because you use the thing to manipulate. But you don't just walk into a room and be like, I'm Sean Combs, everyone get naked. That's not what's happening. You use the label, you use the fact that you can shelve people, you use the fact that maybe their projects will never come out, you use the fact that they're waiting on the money that they need to fund their project. You use all of these things and you say things without saying them, and before you know it, you have people in a horrible situation, And one of the main things that I can't stop thinking about is how Diddy was able to get away with being Diddy for so long. Because there's so many times, there's so many little points in time where so many people's lives would have been different if Diddy had just gone to jail when he was supposed to go to jail, the other times he was supposed to go to jail. Like if you think back, way back, Diddy used to date J-Lo. And when Diddy and J-Lo were dating, they were like a hot couple, and they were always in the tabloids and stuff, and everybody was following them around. I remember, I can't remember if it was the VMAs or the BET Awards, but she went to some award show with a dress that had everybody like, God, that's J-Lo, that's crazy. Oh, and she became this it girl and everything, and she was dating Diddy at the time, and they went to a nightclub together. And when they went to this nightclub, I don't really know the circumstance of the fight starting, but somebody got in a fight with Diddy, right? And it's hard to tell when you in a fight at a nightclub. I've been to nightclubs before. I know it don't seem like it, but I've been to nightclubs before, and I've almost had some altercations at nightclubs, not even because I meant to. I was just in there, just walking, having a good time, and then maybe somebody's yelling at you, maybe they're trying to get your attention, maybe they're trying to fight you. It's hard to tell all that stuff from regular dancing at a nightclub. Because when you see people dance at a nightclub, depending on who it is, they look like they're in their own fight. They look like they're in a battle with the rhythm. They look like they're taking swings at the melody. So it's hard to know that they want to fight you. And then people yell at a nightclub, but yelling is how you talk. It's so loud in here. Like I was in a nightclub one time, I was walking and I must have like stepped on this guy's shoe or something. I didn't mean to. And he was like, hey, like yelling at me, trying to get my attention. And I just turned around and I was like, hi. And that's... That didn't do me any favors, right? Because I really didn't hear him, but leaning over and being like, ha, that's just offering up my face for the punching. And so Diddy got into some altercation with some dude, and no one knows everything that was said, but it was a lot of back and forth, a lot of like, well, I make money too and everything. And then apparently he grabbed some money and he threw it in Diddy's face, right? But this is the way I'd like to imagine it, because apparently it flew up in the air, and I think the only way that could happen is if he had the money, balled up in that roll of money, right? And that roll of money that you just keep together with a thin rubber band, right? So that way when it hits something, the whole thing explodes. And he's like, I make money too, and he threw it and it hit Diddy on the head and just pow. Then it started to rain, right? And so then, gets in this altercation, and then Diddy allegedly pulls a gun out, right? Starts firing off at this dude, okay? And whole like gunfight ensued and everything. And that was one of the wildest nights because, you know, Diddy and J-Lo were not quite like, I wouldn't say like clean cut because they were still like party and hip hop, everything, but they were this it couple. And now this horrible thing had happened and they were at the center of it, right? And there was even a whole trial. And at the trial, J-Lo testified that she only saw Shine pull out a gun. Now, Shine, if you don't remember, was a rapper who was popping at the time. And he went to jail by himself for 10 years. Diddy didn't go to jail. And there was even a woman named Natanya Rubin. And Natanya Rubin has said many times, she never stopped saying it, that she saw Diddy pull his gun. And she knows that Diddy pulled his gun because Diddy shot her in the face. And she survived and everything, but she didn't get any media attention or anything. And then, you know, publications just ran with the fact that J-Lo said Shine did it, and that was enough. Shine was guilty. He was off. He was off to jail. But even to this day, Natanya Rubin is like, you need to reopen the case. I'm right here. You know? And she had her surgery and everything. And I mean, to a certain degree, I watched her. She did an interview recently, and you can't really tell, but she says she lives with that pain because there are fragments that they couldn't get out, right? And she's like, he need to reopen the case. I want justice, you know? And the journalist asked her, would you be willing to give one of the fragments and like, you know, do the forensic test and everything? Because they didn't do one apparently. And she said, yeah, of course. I got 9 fragments. I can spare one. The thing that did Diddy in, you know, really, truly, from his own nature, from his own core, were money, power, and fame, right? And money, power, and fame is a dangerous combination. Messes up a lot of people. Money, because, guys, money. This is what trajectory of money does in the mind. When you have no money and you just imagine having some money, that's even enough money. When you have no money and you're like, man, it'd be nice to eat. That's the money for the meal in front of you is all you need in your mind. You know, it's why people who are desperate, truly desperate, walk up to you and they don't ask for everything that they need. They ask for what they need to get by. They ask for change. They ask for the next thing that they need. Because money changes perspective. As the more of it that you get, the more you become not necessarily an insane person. But your ideas, your wants and needs, they start to shift. And they usually, at a certain amount of money, leave Earth. Why do you think all the billionaires are trying to go to space? They're like, I did it all. I did everything here. What's up there? Can I own that? That'd be nice. Money messes with your mind. And then sometimes you think, man, if I had enough money for this thing, oh, I'd be so good. I'd be so benevolent. And maybe you would. But maybe you wouldn't. Maybe having that money and getting attached to it would attach you to it so tight that now I don't really want to have less than. I don't know anyone working in America that's willing to get paid less. You know, we all have, and some of it's just human nature. We all have a little upward mobility, thinking about what's next, thinking about how we can build up. That I'm not saying that's wrong at all. I'm saying at a certain amount of money, you just lose your mind. You know? And then power. Money and power, they get people to do some of the same things. Money, I'll give you an example. I was in Vietnam a little while ago, right? And the Vietnamese dong, which is their currency, right? One of our dollars is about, at least at the going rate right now, currency exchange-wise, is about 24,200 dong. So if you go there with your yearly salary, you are a billionaire in dong. And we look at our billionaires a certain type of way. We look at them as like, why is this piece of shit hoarding all this wealth? Is he out of his mind? Does he not know how many people he could help? This is crazy. It's billions and billions of dollars. And then you talk to a billionaire and they're like, oh yeah, well, I had this idea of how we could like get to space and stuff, so I'll just do that. It's like, we're dying. Why would you? No one cares about space. Why are you hoarding all of it? And then you hear, even in like a billionaire's, I listen to the audiobook because I don't like to read about, I want to know a billionaire's life, but to read it and learn it all slow feels upsetting. I'm just like, let me just let someone tell me so I can feel like I'm talking to a friend, like, what? You know what I mean? Like, that's a little bit smoother of a process. But you talk about, you know, like a billionaire, and the way that they think about us is insane. There are even billionaires that they've said it. Different billionaires are different levels of like loose-lipped. And there are billionaires that have properly said to a camera that they knew was recording, if people knew how good my life was, they would bring back the guillotine. That's what he said. And then you hear other billionaires tell it, and they're like, well, you know, if people are too dumb or too lazy or too scared to take the chances to make money, that's on them. The way that they think about us is insane. But then you see an American, a Brit, maybe somebody from Australia, go to Vietnam and be a billionaire, and it is harrowing how many people turn into our billionaires there. I watched it. I was in a market, right? And there was this British lady that was trying to haggle with this woman who had made this like homemade, like knitted little bag, right? And she was charging like, I don't know, maybe like 5,000 dong for it. Now remember, I told you $1 was 24,000 dong. And this British lady is actually like haggling with her. Like being like, what about 4,000? She's like, no, it's 5. It's like, what about 475? No, 5. And she doesn't know much English, and the British lady's getting annoyed with her, and I'm getting furious because I'm like, you realize the pound is doing better than the dollar, so you're just haggling like, what if I gave you nothing? Would nothing be good? What about nothing? You would love nothing though. Like if I gave you nothing, that'd make me feel better as I left. And this person is a billionaire, at least right now. You can tell that they're broke in Britain, though. Like, only a broke person would go somewhere else and then try to be rich really hard. Like, that's... I don't know why you front. You know you could only afford the flight. I don't know why you acting like this right now. Acting like these people are trying to cheat you out of something. You know you already have a leg up. It's crazy. But it is how billionaires think sometimes. Because then when we work at a corporation that's $1 billion, maybe even you work at Apple, Amazon, you work at one of the truly big ones that's about to hit the trillions of dollars, right? And then you want a raise, and you want a substantial raise, and it's nothing for them because they have billions of dollars, and they're still like, why should we give you anything? It's the same mentality, right? And so Diddy had money, and he had the type of money that makes people do things, bend to your will and everything. And so he bent it, and he had power. And this is the thing about power. I'm someone who wants very little power. Because I don't know, I can think about what I might do, but I don't know what I would do with power. That's terrifying. Don't give me power. If I had the power to make Ted Cruz punch himself in the balls... whether it was like X-Men mind control or if I just had enough money that he would do it. Like, if I could make Ted Cruz punch himself in the balls nonstop, his balls would never rest. I would go overboard with my power. And Diddy had lots of power. He had power, he had influence, and used all of it to garner more and to truly hurt people. He didn't care who he hurt. You can see it when you read the indictment. And he did it for long as well, you know? And then fame is the last thing. Fame, you can't actually control, especially now. There are people that want to be very famous, and they might get there. And then there are people who don't mean to be famous at all. But then someone's just recording, and then a TikTok is made. Like, there are people who become famous overnight, and all they did was trip. That's too random. Fame is the one that gets away from you. Money, you can decide how much money you want to keep, how much money you want to make, especially if you have the means to just be making boatloads of money. You can take a step back and be like, a lot of money is enough money. I don't need all the money. Power you wield, and power you can also give away. You can tell someone, I want to bring you in. I want to make you powerful as well, right? Fame, not really. There are plenty of people that the industry has tried to make famous, and we were like, nah. But people with power, people with money, they can promise fame, even if they can't deliver. And because they have so much money and so much power, it looks like they can give you fame. And so that's another way that Diddy manipulated and abused people, was through his fame and the promise of fame that was to come to them. Right? And money, power, and fame is actually what screwed Diddy. Not just his own. The fact that he finally met up with the U.S. government. No government is more powerful with more money or more famous. And when you put the two up against each other, his is, money and power and fame of the U.S. government, the money that they have. You think you have money, they can freeze your money. You can show up to court and they'll be like, oh, you broke. Oh, I'm sorry, you thought you had money? Oh, I feel terrible for you. It must suck to be broke. They can freeze your accounts. Power? You want to talk about federal power? Look at the conviction rate of federal prosecutors. It's in the 90s for a reason. People either plead out or they're like, no, I'm going to be vindicated in court. And the U.S. government is like, I bet you won't. Fame? What government is more famous, especially as far as their judicial system? What government is more famous than the U.S. government? You know? They looking at Diddy right now like, oh, you blew up Kid Cudi's car, that's cute. We killed MLK. And Malcolm X. No, you're done, bro. It's over. Because I think about how does a person become that evil? You know what I mean? And so a lot of it is ego. Ego is a dangerous thing. Ego is like a dish that only feeds you false fruit, right? Like the more that you eat off of your own ego, the more you starve your spirit. Like it's the way to sickness, you know? Like ego is this like still small voice, right? Telling you the most important thing is I. Like ego stands in like the middle of pride right there. But then when things happen, when consequence comes, ego never shows up. Ego is like a friend. Ego's like a friend that's like, hey, come on. The door's unlocked. Let's get in this house. No, let's just see what's inside. There might be some good stuff in there. It's like, but it's not my house. Come on. Then ego gets you to go in there. And then you're like, there's some shiny stuff. And then you start grabbing stuff. And then before you know it, you see blue and red lights. And you're like, come on, we got to get out. And ego's gone already. Like, I think about how it got here, you know, and how many people did he hurt and why he was allowed to get away with it for so long. And I can't help but think that a lot of what he was allowed to get away with is because it happened to black women. You know what I mean? When people say protect black women, they don't mean that black women can't protect themselves. We mean that when you look at the stats and you look at who the powerful people hurt because they know that they can do it, it's the same people. I guess what I'm trying to say is I hope Diddy gets life. And I hope he lives forever.
There's a portrait of Josh where it looks like he's about to do slam poetry.
I have a fidget ring. I can spin it. The JJ patches. We got anime Josh here. Flower crown Josh here. We have a pen. Magnet hoodie. We love the Flowers tour.
Please make it loud for Josh Johnson!
Man, okay. I've been excited to come to Rochester, and I have been also nervous. I mean, I cannot tell if y'all have a mountain lion or not. Listen, I can only go off of what I've been watching. And what I've been watching, I'll just walk you through it. What I saw was a news report. This news report was of someone's Ring camera. I like that the whole community is involved in the surveillance. I like that this wasn't CCTV footage. This was, a person's Ring camera. And in the Ring camera, there is what might be, probably is, definitely looked like a mountain lion going for a late night stroll. Fantastic. The mountain lions have heard that Rochester is a place worth parking. And so the mountain lions have shown up, and one particular mountain lion was letting himself be seen. That ended up on the news where I saw it. And I was like, that does look like a mountain lion. But then the internet being the internet, there were plenty of people that were like, mountain lion, that's a cougar. Nothing makes me want to get into it with people than actually, that's so beside the point. A very big cat is walking around Rochester. Cougar, mountain lion, help me with the major difference. And then people initially, when the report came out, there was a shelter-in-place order, right? And I heard about the shelter-in-place order, and I was like, order? was fighting to get outside knowing there was a mountain lion out there? Who was like, y'all know I always wanted to pet one. This is so unfair. Every time something fun happened, I gotta stay inside. Shelter-in-place order is crazy. I saw people commenting online off the video, and I saw some people that were like, "Aww." Please tell me you understand that if that awe is taken to a mountain lion, that will be the last noise you make. Oh, so sweet. Licking it. Let's go say hi. Oh. Oh. Wow, okay. And then from there, you know, people contacted the zoo, and to y'all's credit, y'all's zoo was like, hey, nah. Everybody here's supposed to be here. Okay? We not just loose with the gates like some other zoos have been. We got all our cougars, we got all our mountain lions, every cat is here. And like the fact that this thing was just strolling as well. It's not like running around. Everyone that says they've seen it, it's like quickly become this like urban legend / mascot of Rochester. Because then the people that have seen it, and look, I'm not saying that if you've seen it, you were supposed to tackle it and take a selfie with it. I believe the people that say they saw it. I believe one person in particular that says that he saw it. I believe the man that your news interviewed that said that he saw it. This man should just be an anchor. The man is all the news, and they turn and he went rawr. And I was like, go on. So far, this is very believable. He's like, it went rawr, and I was like, ooh, I'm good. No, none of that. No. I like how that's how you get away from wild animals. It's like, because admittedly, look, I'll tell you, as a black person, that's exactly what's happening. If you see a wild animal out in the not wild, you start conversing with it like somebody you owe a lot of money. Hey, look, no, hey, listen, no, look, no, please, no, no, bruh, no, thank you, no, please. Look, nah, later maybe, but no, not today. Oh, Lord help me, oh. This man gives this interview, he says he saw a row, and then he was like, no, I'm not messing with you, no, thank you, no, I'm out of here, no, I'm not, I don't mess with lions, tigers, bears, good policy. These are good things to keep in mind. I don't mess with any of them. And then my favorite thing about the interview wasn't that he was like, it could be anywhere. It could be in those bushes, as this man looked up. This is why this dude is like low-key one of my favorite people of all time, because I know exactly everything that's going through his thought process while he's talking to the news, and I also could put myself in this situation when he saw the mountain lion. No, I could be in one of these bushes anywhere. He stopped just short of what I probably would have said, which is like, it could be anywhere. Anywhere, these bushes up here. It could be in the house. It could be you. We don't know each other, like.
How we know he didn't stand up, tuck the tail, and was like, reporting live? Matter of fact, roll up your sleeves. Let me see how furry you are. No, my favorite thing about this interview was that this man gave the interview in broad daylight, explaining what he saw while holding a bat. It's like, that's why I keep it with me right now. That's why I got it on me. And I'm like, yes, but no. No, that's why sometimes I don't like the movies that Hollywood makes, that, you know, they put scenes out there that wouldn't go the way that we've imagined. You know, you put Idris Elba in one movie with a line, and now people think they could fend off a mountain lion with, like, not a thick bat. Like, that was, that bat looked like Pee-wee grade. That was not a slugger, you know? He was like, no, if it come near me, if it comes anything, no. And then y'all did not help the situation. Because then you started posting AI of y'all with the mountain lion. This woman said she heard a row and she looked and he was in the bakery, and I'm like, I'm believing it I'm believing it till I see the picture. I'm over here being like, man, this woman chill. This woman a straight gangster. She's not just a baker. It was in her store. And they showed the picture. I was like, y'all gotta stop playing. This is supposed to be the news. I was sitting there getting mad. I was like, all right, some of these clearly look fake, but a couple of them don't. Look, you can either post an AI image or you can interview the person. Don't do both. That's disrespectful to my man who's probably still carrying a bat right now. You all over here scared him, making him think the mountain lion everywhere. No, look, don't approach a mountain lion. If you see a mountain lion, there's a whole number you're supposed to call, so some like actual professionals come deal with the mountain lion. That was another little gripe that I had, that I will admit. I was like, because I was in my head, I'm like, I'm coming to Rochester. What if I see his mountain lion? I should probably memorize this number. And instead of being in any way catchy, in any way memorable, this number isn't 1-800-sighting. That would be too many numbers, I understand. But like, this number is just 1-375-2280. Like, it was just such a regular number. I was like, no one will remember that. You couldn't even make a number. You couldn't even make it like 1-800-GET-CATS. Not even try. Now I'm over here, I see the mountain lion, I don't have a bat on me, anything. I'm doing the regular thing, the thing that we know to do. No, I'm not messing with you. I'm not playing with you. Get away from me. Oh no, oh geez, right? And now I'm trying to call the number and I'm like, 1. Now I'm over here, somebody knows the number. That's insane. That's too earnest. Don't. That's we. Imagine though, because this is my thing. This is just my thinking. If I saw the mountain lion, right, and it was over here, not just minding its like ring camera business, not just going about his day. Maybe I saw a mountain lion. The mountain was like, "Hey, city ain't big enough for the both of us." I'm not gonna lie, just for the sake of brevity, I would probably call 911. But the idea that there's a whole extra set of numbers to call if you see the mountain lion makes me wonder that, like, if you call 911, they'll be like, a mountain lion? You called the wrong 911.
Look, I'll give you the number, call. Write it down. Write it down. You can't transfer me? No. We 3 numbers. They're 10 numbers. You just can't transfer like that. It doesn't work like that. Yeah, I'm just praying I have a good time in Rochester. I don't see a mountain lion in the very high bushes y'all have. Y'all have been busy since I've been gone. Y'all have had a string, multiple robberies. See, I haven't even specified yet, and y'all have had a string of robberies of the mail. I was reading about it. Mail carriers are getting robbed, and that's just... I like an unboxing as much as the next person, but like that's truly it's mail. It's more likely you stealing bills. Imagine. Oh, would have been great if somebody had robbed my house when I only had bills in it, you know? I can't even imagine what that would be like for the mail carrier, because it'd be different if you're like a Brinks truck. It'd be different if you went to wherever, because they go everywhere, and they do these shipments from different places and stuff. It would be different if you went to, like, you know, some grocery store. They had to do their deposit. You show up with the truck. They always have like 2 of them there. And I used to think that was for security, but the worse the economy gets, I'm like, nah, that's so somebody doesn't quit on the job. That's so somebody doesn't just drive off with the truck. There's at least one other person there to keep you accountable. But they'll have the person who's like loading up the truck or loading something in from the place that they're picking up from, and then they'll have one person just sort of standing there, looking at everybody. I used to work at a grocery store. This exact thing would happen. Like, they would come with the truck, and there would be somebody that looked at everybody like a suspect. You would have grapes in hand, and he'd be like, what's up, though? Like, you trying to... It's like, oh, I'm trying to, check out, get rung up. It's like, okay, all right. Likely story, but okay. And then, they go off, they deliver it to the bank or whatever. I can only imagine if you work at the mail. And somebody roll up on you. Maybe they have a gun, maybe they don't. And they're like, hey, come up out of everything. I don't even think you'd be trying to be brave. I think out of genuine confusion, you'd be like, the mail? Yeah, everything you got. It's like, I can tell you right now, because of the route that I'm on, none of these about to be checks. You know what I mean? Because it's not even like they're robbing the mail carrier of like the best neighborhood. You're just robbing the mail in hopes. It would be different if this was like the 1800s. It would, because back in the day when they robbed trains, those trains did bring like mail with them. And a lot of that mail was like, from bank to bank, or somebody sending something to someone that was precious. You had these great train robberies and everything. Now, you'd be sorely disappointed if you were to hop on an Amtrak. You're like, okay, everybody, this is a robbery. It's like, all right, first of all, let me tell you right now, every single car in that Amtrak, bathroom destroyed. So already, you get on the Amtrak, you'll be like, all right, everybody, this is a... Oh, one of y'all sick? What? Because people used to carry their belongings on them, and now it's just one belonging. Like now the phone's more important than the wallet. For some people, the phone is the wallet. That's why when some people forget their phone, I'm like, y'all didn't
take life seriously at all today. Do you know what I mean? Like it's one thing if I forget my ID, or if I forget one of my like cards, or if I forget my keys or my AirPods. Like, you do the little check before you go, make a song out of it, right? It's very different if you decided, hey, I'm gonna put everything in the phone, that way it's all in one place. Some people even put the card in the little pouch behind their phone. I remember the first time I saw that, I was like, this is a horrible idea. Just attaching the wallet to the phone. And they're like, no, now everything's in one place. I'm like, yeah, you made it easy for the mugger. That's all you did. You still gonna be forgetful. I don't know why we think that like changing that thing will like change us. Do you know what I mean? My friend is very forgetful. But then he's like, no, if I just put it all in one thing, I'll be fine. I'm like, no, you'll forget more at once. Your day will be worse. Because then, I already saw this, right? You saw that they put the phone into the back of the case, into the wallet, right? All one thing. Then they were like, why even use a case? Let's just mush the credit cards into the phone, let everybody pay with their phone. So now, a lot of my friends don't even carry credit cards. It's just the phone. So now when you forget your phone, I'm like, who are you? The phone was your ID, it was your credit card, it was your phone. This is what's crazy about losing a phone now, not just on top of not just on top of like how much we keep in it, but my friend locked himself out of his house because he had put his keys in his phone. Because you know they have that thing now where certain scan, you can scan and then just boom, click, and then the door opens. He did that because he was like, why keys? Keys are so archaic. Why am I, and then pitched it to me like this. Why am I just walking around all day jingling? What am I, the crypt keeper? Why am I running around here, cling, 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 cling? No. That is entertainment for babies, all right? Only thing that keys are good for, put the keys into the phone. And then with the credit card, he was like, why am I just carrying around plastic all the time? All the time. Then the card expired. You don't even know the card was about to expire. So then you over here trying to pay for your groceries looking dumb. Looking over here. No, I swear, there's money in the account. I don't know why this is happening. You got the Brinks guy staring at you like, all right, you said it was all about grapes, but it looked like it's not all about grapes. So what's really hood? Now I put the card in my phone. I put the keys in my phone. I got everything. All the time. And I'm like, all right, but what happens when you don't have the phone? Because you're telling me all this as like the reason to put everything inside of one thing. But now you're locked out. You're locked out of your apartment and you're sitting in my apartment. Somebody who uses a key to get in. I don't know. I feel bad for you. You gotta use this archaic technology. You gotta turn it with your wrist like you're from 2000 BC. And then that's the other thing that was crazy. It's like all these things that were for ease, he ended up being so much worse off because I told him, I was like, you didn't even have your phone on you to call me. You had to find me. Do you realize how much crazier that is? If you had kept it all separate, if you had diversified your belongings, and then realized, ooh, I forgot my phone. Let me use my key to walk back into my apartment and maybe send an email to a friend or let someone know I'm gonna be late, right? Or
If I had, forgot my key, I now have a card and a phone to either call someone else who has the key or just go to, where we keep our spare key. You can go where you keep your spare key. Because you keep a spare key, right? You keep one physical copy, right? You keep one physical key, and then you keep your phone key, because one of those keys isn't dumb. And he was like, why would I have a backup regular key? Just so somebody can find that key, break into my place, and steal all my belongings. I'm like, it sounds like you have one belonging. It sounds like... I'm waiting for when they do that. I'm waiting for when Apple is like, no, put the couch in the phone. Just trying to get you to sit on your phone to be comfortable. And then when your phone cracks, it's like, oops, maybe that was a bad idea, but you will need a new phone. We're doing all this stuff and it's just doing too much. Doing too much. And then you get to the place where you don't even know why you're doing what you're doing. You get to the place where you're robbing the mail. Truly for what? At best, it might be like a blender. If you are robbing the mail and it is not an Amazon package, you're already losing. Because when I tell you right now, this mail that you're stealing, this like paper that you're stealing, is paper that the people it's going to don't want. Forget bills. This is like begging people to open up a new credit card. It's begging people to subscribe to a magazine they subscribed to one time. It's just asking for money. And then you do that, and then you open all that mail in your place, which is also against the law. You doubling up on felonies. What's the plan here? Because now you've opened the check. Let's say you got a check. Let's say somebody still works in 1990. And let's say that you got the check. What is the plan now? To go to the bank and be like, hey, I'm 8 people. But who knows? Maybe the banks in Rochester just cash whatever y'all bring. I have no idea. Maybe this makes sense. I know it's been spoken on already, but I am genuinely, I've been looking it up. I've been educating myself, and I'm fascinated at the origin of the garbage plate. Because here's the thing. I'm not here to talk about if it's good or not, or the aesthetic or anything like that. I'll get to the aesthetic, but like the name. I don't know. This is what I think happened. This is okay. Look, I'm pitching you what I think happened because we didn't have to get here. Anything that is good does not also have to have like a derogatory name, right? But I think that like something happened. Something happened where like I live in New York City. I live in Brooklyn, and New York City is very dirty. There's a lot of garbage out. No alleys, just street. I remember the first time when I moved to New York, because I moved to New York with very little frame of reference of what New York would be like. And so I moved to New York, and I saw the trash on the street, and I was like, oh, okay, I didn't know we were in a state of emergency. I had no idea. I picked the wrong time to move because the garbage, and piled up too, almost organized in its chaos, piled up about waist high at the sidewalk, And then I realized that's what you do there. You put the garbage on the street. Like for a day, well, not a day, for like 3 days out of the week.
we are the garbage. And somehow nobody has seen fit to just make an alley. Isn't this one of the oldest cities in America? At any point in time, somebody could have been like, look, we're gonna have to like eminent domain this one brownstone so that everybody doesn't have to live like the apocalypse happened 5 months ago. It will be a beautiful day in New York City. You'll be walking happy. And then you will, as an adult, I thought I smelled all the smells. As a grown person, I was positive I'd even smelled all the mixes. And sometimes you'll be walking in New York City, and it will be a beautiful day. It'll be a picturesque day. It'll be one of those days that they direct movies with the scene that you're seeing. It's almost like God's cinematography. When you look around New York City, the sun is coming up. There's that golden hour. Everything's shining off. The building's just perfect. Maybe you walking and you walking with somebody you love. You holding hands and everything. And then you even go to say, I love you, right? You go to express, because you get swept up in this moment, this beautiful, beautiful moment that somehow you can only experience in New York City. Plenty of places are beautiful, but this moment can only happen in New York City. And you go to say, I love you, but that means you open your mouth. And so now this person whose eyes you were looking deep into, you go, You can't even describe it. You can't even describe. The only thing that even comes close to it is if you like ran onto like an Amtrak train with the bathroom door open. You've never felt or smelled anything like that. You felt like you were walking through a cloud when it happened. And now you're doubled over. That moment has happened in New York City for as long as New York City has been around. Since its founding. Since they were like, no, just mush them together. Nah, everybody want to live here, mush them together. No, and on top too, let's build up. No, it means more trash, but it means more people to, pay more taxes for us to still not have figured this out. Look, it's a phenomenal idea. There's no way, no, you can't cut through these buildings. You can't tear something down. No, that'd be crazy. This thing is worth $2 million. This piece of property that nobody wants, that no one will ever want, is also worth $2 million. No, we can't make it an alley. That would be useful. And so, I think maybe somebody saw that entire situation. And they were in Rochester and they were eating at one of their favorite places, and they were like, that looks exactly like what's in front of me right now. I've seen it, and I feel like there were other names. Because there were other words available, you know what I mean? This is how I'll put it. It would be like if I baked a cake, right? If I baked a cake and it was a triple chocolate cake, right? So, and not just triple chocolate in the way that's like chocolate layer, chocolate layer, chocolate layer. Let's say I really took my time. I really did something like decadent. I really made like one layer almost like chocolate chip cookie. It's a little bit more brownie than it is like cake. And then the layer above that, I went a little bit like dark chocolate with it, right? And it had a little bit of filling in the sides of it that was also like something you don't usually get in a chocolate cake. And then the top of the chocolate cake is very light.
very like not the like fondant type stuff, like very light icing and a very like moist top, melts in your mouth, right? And then you had this chocolate cake, and it was actually, let's just say for the sake of argument, the best chocolate cake you've ever had in your life. Incredible. You were moved by how good this chocolate cake is, because you never had chocolate cake like it. This might make you act different, move different throughout your life. You never had chocolate cake like this before. Never has somebody put chocolate cake on a dish and then you put fork to cake and then fork to mouth and cake to mouth and then felt this good about your life and yourself, right? It's never happened before. And so then you ask because now there's a different person. You're a different person when you had the cake, before you had the cake, and after you had the cake, right? You're about to move through the world with more love, knowing that there's cakes like this to be had. You're about to spread the good word of this cake, because more people should have this cake, more people should feel this happiness, right? And you take a break from chewing, from everything, to ask me, what kind of cake is this? And instead of saying triple chocolate cake, instead of listing the ingredients, you ask me what type of cake it is, and I say, Dookie. I called it Dookie, because, you know. No, because when you look at the plate, you know what I mean? No, it looked like Dookie, so I called it Dookie. That makes it more enticing, doesn't it? Have another slice of Dookie. That's when I garbage plates. They may have found signs of ancient life on Mars. And I don't know how that helps us. That's y'all did it. You know what I mean? Ancient life on Mars. Not current life. To my understanding, they have found signs that somebody used to be there. Okay. All right. Imagine somebody coming to you and being like, this place used to be cool. Because I've thought about that. I've thought about how, what if, let's just say, for the sake of argument, what if there was like ancient life on Mars? And like ancient beings, we're not talking about like little microbes or anything like that, like intelligent beings. Like obviously we would call them aliens and everything because they're over there, we're over here. But like they lived on Mars. And then even though they're intelligent beings, they didn't always act in a way that was intelligent. You know what I mean? They didn't take care of themselves, each other, or their planet. And maybe they built out systems that didn't actually benefit all of them, just a few. And then it got to a point where they were not just unhappy with each other, they were unhappy with their planet, a planet that they had basically ruined. It used to be dope, and now it's whatever it is now. And so then they worried that there was no way to reverse course. There was still time, but they were like, what are you gonna do? And so then they, over time, remember, this is ancient. Remember how long the universe has been around. They looked around and they were, in some ways, very intelligent. Maybe intelligent enough to find another place to live. And maybe they find a place, and maybe it's called Earth. And maybe they went to Earth and they've been on Earth for so long, they forgot where they came from, but being intelligent beings, they made all the same mistakes all over again. And so then there comes this day where they look around and not really happy with themselves or each other or their planet, and rather than hopefully not wrecking it or themselves, they're like, what if we went to Mars? I don't know, maybe there's something there. Because I do think that, I don't know, I feel like that's as likely as finding life on Mars. Because that is where we're at for the most part. There's a lack of belief in the idea that you can still build community, or the idea that people can still see each other as people. That's incredibly troubling and scary. I think that we rely now on communication that is more served to us than we seek out. We feel like we seek it out because we're discovering it in real time. In real time, you are discovering your For You page. In real time, you are discovering when you're scrolling, and you feel like because you're making the choice to scroll that it's the choice what you see next, but it really isn't. And based on a bunch of things about you, we think we're shaping the algorithm, and it's a high likelihood it's the other way around. Because based on how you've built your habits gets based on whether you get served contempt or compassion. And so then when it's time for us to talk, we have a very different view of how people are in the world. Like all of social, all of this stuff, every platform, it's just a mirage. But when you're out in the desert by yourself, which it feels like a lot of people feel that way. A ton of people feel like they're out by themselves, right? And you see this thing up ahead and you think you know what it is, and it turns out to be a mirage. It's very hard to convince anyone of that idea. And so that's what I watch more of than anything else. It's just the idea that I know what's going on, I know what people are saying, I know how people think, and I've got a big picture of everything that's going on. It's like, I promise you have a snapshot. No person, no single person online is one thing. No idea is one shared belief by everyone. And once again, no matter what you do, even when you think you're gaming the system, even when you're like, but I log out sometimes, I guarantee you, you're being served a certain amount of contempt and a certain amount of compassion, and it's all driven to keep driving you. You want to know what people think, you want to know how people are, you just talk to people. This is the only way to find out. If you want community, you build it as best as possible. And you build it in any way that you can. Some of that will include being online. Some of that, I'm not talking about talking to your friend in a DM. I'm talking about the way we see each other is so important. And the way we see each other is being molded and affected without people understanding that they didn't actually get to participate in some of this. You don't know what impact you have to anyone that's outside of your sphere. It's why I do my best. I'm not perfect, but why I do my best to be, hopefully, the best version of myself all the time. Because people are only going to see a sliver. So if what they see is good, maybe they'll think the world's a little bit better. And if they see bad, they might think the world's a little worse. And it goes moment to moment. And no matter how much you try to put out, you can still get drowned out. But I know that when I see people, when I see anger, when I see hate, when I see love, when I see compassion, I know that I'm seeing all of it at one time. And then the real mix of it that's out there is different than what's in my phone. The same way you shouldn't put your keys and your wallet and your... Do you know what I mean? The same way that if you put everything in the phone and then you lose sight of what you're up to, you're lost. It's the same way that you cannot just trust that what you're seeing and what people are saying, and these people as well, these people, whoever these people are. Because that's the other thing about opinions online. It's the other thing about people online. We didn't vote for like a king or queen of online. Somehow any person saying anything is representative of everybody at any given point. That's not possible. I wish it was what was happening when it was like a smart person. But like, who knows? Like, smart people usually don't keep you online because they're like, hey, you should live your life. It's very bad for business. When people live their lives and when they meet people and when they talk to people and they have real conversations with people, when they really sit down with people and they get to know people, that's scary. It's scary for everybody who benefits from what you're like when you're just on your phone. You need to be very, very careful of how we look at other people, how we judge other people, because I'm telling you right now, this thing will run away from you. You will leave the house thinking the entire world is the devil without ever having checked with any other person. Do you know what I mean? I've gone outside and I've talked to people, and there are people, I'll tell you right now, there are people that scare me. There are people that scare me. There are people that walk around on trash day in New York and yawn. That's insane. It does. I don't know if it gets crazier. That's terrifying. And I'm talking like hot summer trash day. Not today, Satan. No, I see that, and I'm not gonna lie, I cross the street. I treat them like they got a pit bull. I treat them like, you know? Well, yeah. Like I don't know. And sometimes you want to throw your hands up and just say, none of it's worth it or anything. And I don't know. I just don't believe that. There are some things that happening and your response, what you put out into the world, it is coming back. It may not feel that way. And maybe you're a kid and you're impulsive and somebody makes you angry online, so you get real nasty with everybody all day, and you don't even think about like the ripple effect that thing has. But like, people take online, obviously is not real, but people take real things off of it, you know. And I've talked about this before. I'm never stop talking about it because I genuinely believe it from the bottom of my heart that the bravest thing you ever do. I remember I read this and it stuck with me, and I hope it sticks with me for the entirety of my life, because this is how people make money. This is how people control you. This is how people mess with your mind. This is how people turn you against other people. The bravest thing that you will ever do in your entire life is accept that there's nothing wrong with you. Nothing intrinsically wrong with you. There's nothing that is like that needs to be bought to fix you. There's nothing that you need to, and that is not to say that everyone is a perfect person. I'm not saying people don't need to work on themselves. I'm saying that like you are not beyond the measure of like the love and care that a person should receive, right? And then the second scariest thing you'll ever do in your life, and like some people can't do it. Some people live and die. They get buried without ever doing it. The other scariest thing you'll ever do in your entire life, I promise you, is change your mind. And like, I don't think that I personally don't think we're in a place where we're too far gone. These two things can still happen. It takes a second for them to happen. It takes a moment for either one of them to happen. That there is nothing wrong with you. Now, you're not perfect. You make mistakes. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing unfixable, unlovable about you. And then there's a world that looks different than the world in your phone or even the world from your experiences. But I promise you, changing your mind will not kill you. But this isn't the world. It's not even your world. It's just what you're being served to keep you on the platform. But I think somewhere along the line, we start to feel like it's a window instead of a TV. Do you know what I mean? It's not a window. There's no way to know what everybody thinks, and there is no like side to reality. So when you're watching something, and when you're watching people react to something, you're seeing a piece of it, but you have to remember what you're being served. Like that's what's happening. Different amounts, compassion, contempt, depends on how you look, depends on where you go. It's worth seeing the full picture for yourself. I think to fail to do that is to start to fail to be as human as you can be. You know, this thing that we have is this incredible tool, but like tools are also weapons. A tool can protect you, and you can use it to hurt other people. Like if you thought a mountain lion was like walking around all the time and you just had a bat with you just in case, it's like not. But these things are tools, and it's very important to remember who's using the tool. We think it's us all the time, and I think that is a mistake. To think that we use it, that it doesn't work the other way around ever. I love you all, and I appreciate every single one of you. I don't want to see. I don't want to see people destroy themselves because they thought that they had a mirror, they thought that they had a window, and they just had a TV. You know? So I appreciate every single one of y'all. I can't even describe it. I was so excited to come here and spend time with you, and that is definitely in spite of the mountain lion. So. Rochester, y'all been amazing. Thank you so much. I appreciate y'all so much.
When I